Alright folks, this is session number 3 of the XENON1T dark matter detector target. And so this was a completely separate tasking that Dustin gave me. So it wasn't, I didn't have like a verbal movement like, you said this, go and check that out or anything like that. This was a complete different tasking, and this is what I had to go on here was the target ID C, or just the third tasking on it. This is what he was interested in. This is what he had in kind of his notes. I labeled everything from your session that was related to the theory, assumption, unknown, metaphor, esoteric, exotic, etc. So that was kind of his notes to me when he gave me the feedback. But here was the tasking. Further connect with what is being described as dark matter or dark energy in such a way as to allow safe and unfearful communication, download of information, record any interaction, experience, or data deemed interesting to viewer Edward Reardon. So he was looking for the kind of the exotic or the esoteric, and we were laughing about it after when we were talking about it when I was getting my feedback that he didn't want to have a situation where there were poltergeist activity happening, like happened with the Earth's core session. Alright, so this is the first time I'm going to be going over this session here. So I was going to look through it, and then I didn't want to. I want to go through it live, and while I'm focusing on the tasking, because the tasking was for me to look for anything kind of esoteric or exotic. And there was some stuff that came in related to that. Okay, so here I am starting this session here, and there's a person here. This person first seemed middle-aged, then the drawing looks like a younger person in his 20s. Could be the movement of time through this person's life. I could be popping around this person. But who is this person though? An engineer's mind, even a builder. He likes to build things. A lifelong passion to build. Engineer. That strong feeling of an engineer. He has a motivator's single goal that formulates the designs he builds. He has a motivator or single goal that he's focused. What is the motivator, I wonder? That was my question. What is the motivator? Because the strength of that was very interesting. What does that mean? It's a vision, like a guiding light in his mind, a spark. He is compelled, pulled. Now, as I'm going through this, what I am looking at is either it could be the same person from the previous session, or it could be a different person at the session that is more related to what the tasking is requesting that I describe. Because again, I'm completely blind. I don't know that part of this tasking is to look for things that are a little more exotic, a little more esoteric, and to have some type of safe communication here. And again, I'm completely blind to any of this tasking. I don't know what the target is. So I want to make that clear as I'm going into now what is motivating this person to formulate and build these things. And that's where I'm going. So again, I want to, the motivator thing was interesting to me. So I wanted to go further into that. That was interesting to me. What is the motivator? That was my question. It's a vision, like a guiding light in his mind, a spark. He is compelled, even pulled. All the designs are attempts to build this and or represent this vision. It feels angelic, or could or has been represented this way. Some interpret as divine inspiration. And then this is what I was had in my mind here, of this person with this kind of having this kind of experience, and it kind of coming through this portal into his brain there. But is it though? I wonder. Is it? Is it divine inspiration? And this is where I went. It's a vision. Is it a complete vision or unformed, illuminated? Wait a minute. Okay, because I'm very interested in what is going on here at this point in this session. So I want to be clear on my questioning and where I'm going to go. So I want to read this as per the state of mind that I was in. Is it a complete vision or an unformed, illuminated source? I question. Meaning, is it by complete vision? I mean, does this person have like this vision in his mind and it's just a matter of drawing it? Or is it some illuminated type of spiritual energy or something like that, but it does not have a form, and the individual is pulling from that as an inspiration type of fuel? That's where I was going with that. Is this person divinely inspired? I question. This is a very real question. As I perceive it now, there is an illuminated tunnel type formation in this person's mind. The question is, what actually is it? This was my experience with it, that there was some type of communication, I guess. But what I wanted to know was there really, or was he just imagining that there was and trying to pull inspiration from that, kind of faking it internally in order to elicit the experience of inspiration? I wanted to know. What actually is it? An impression, I question, because that was the idea. An impression? Meaning, did this person experience something only once, and its impact was long-standing? Or was it an ongoing opening or portal with an awareness emanating from it? So I'm in this part of the session, I'm trying to satisfy myself as to whether what this person is experiencing is real, or is it just a memory, an impression, some experience, seeing something, being inspired by something, and then it just having this long-standing impact as a motivating factor in this person's life? Or is there some type of spiritual force that is actually providing some quote-unquote divine inspiration? Those are two very different things, and I'm not going to, with the experience that I have in remote viewing, I'm not going to follow either one of those because based on any belief systems that I have. I'm experienced and disciplined enough to not choose a side in between those two. I want to go to what is real, and I'm open to either one of those things. I hope that makes sense. This is a very thin line to walk. This is a very thin ice to walk on, that can only be found through thousands and thousands of hours of practice and exploration and experimentation with quote unquote remote viewing. So here I am again. Or is it an ongoing opening or portal with an awareness emanating from it, I question. I feel there are certain images and labels that have been assigned to what it actually is, like angels or possibly alien in some way. But what is pressing and important as well is how others do and have beliefs that are dependent on the idea of this person's visions. So a real factor for me while experiencing and attempting to describe this is the impact of how other people feel about it, because that is within the essence of this person. That this person maybe feels, maybe I spoke too much, and now too many people around me are thinking about this, and are thinking of me in regards to that, and they may have some beliefs that they have that this individual then has to become aware of when they're around that person. So that was a factor for me as I was experiencing it. Religious feeling like that. It then becomes or became a source of hope. This is as it relates to other people. So again, this is what I'm experiencing here, is how other people, how their perspective would change about this individual if they found out that they felt that they had some type of visions, and this was a driving force in their creations and the things that they engineered and developed. And if you tell people that, you may find some people who will take on a more religious attitude about that, and then you become a source of hope for them, that you are someone who is divinely inspired. So that's where I'm at with this. It was very, very, very interesting. How does an individual who has become the source of other people's hope deal with that? That's a very, very good question. People become dependent and needing of that hope. It's like you suddenly feel like they're dependent on you now. That's how this person was feeling. You don't want to let them down. They're holding you on some kind of a pedestal. So we have an individual in an interesting place or dilemma, because if the vision or source of inspiration is not angelic or a representation of the religious beliefs of the people, then this individual would no longer be the people's source of hope. And it's like a double-edged thing. Maybe you feel good about that, maybe you don't. But if there may also be the concern that, well, they may say, oh, well, you're not what we thought you were, and then just turn the person off like that. But does this person care about that? So that was my question as I'm going through this, of whether or not people will change their opinion on him based on whether or not whether they keep believing in him or they stop believing in him. I wanted to know, does this person even care about that? They may not even care. But they do, as I say here. Yes, it's a responsibility that this person takes very seriously. The vision is a very lucid memory that has imprinted itself into this person's brain and mind a memory of being exposed to a brilliant light and being able to return to that mind space. The individual feels like he is in contact with a spiritual / creative source, pulls inspiration from it, possibly in the form of creating the kingdom of God or heaven. This individual is in that mind space. Oh wow, yeah, I forgot about that. Now, I will say, at the time of going through this, as I'm reading it, I'm thinking, I need to do a little research on these people who are involved to see if I can get some feedback on this. Because if I feel pretty confident that if I were to find some biography of someone working on this XENON1T project that had something like this that was written about them, I would immediately identify it. So is it true? I want I don't want to go down an avenue based on my own personal beliefs. What I want to find out is it true? If the individual is manifesting creative inspiration, then yes, it is true. And no labels are required. This leaves the next question. Would this individual have achieved the same results without the illuminating experience, I wonder? It becomes a philosopher's debate, meaning the influence that they had, the vision, quote unquote, would this individual have become an engineer of this level, working on this type of important projects like the XENON1T dark matter detector, if they did not have that experience? Again, it becomes a philosopher's debate on what that person would have done with their life had their life changed in any way if they had not had that experience. The individual is or was inspired and put the inspiration into designs. This should be normal for all, but it is not. Let me read that again. The individual is or was inspired and put the inspiration into designs. This should be normal for all, but it is not. This brings me back to quote-unquote hope. The other people are not having the same type of life experience, like they are not connected to quote-unquote divine inspiration. And the fact that they see it in this person confirms to them that they are not all forsaken. I remember this part of the session, meaning that part of these people's hope, and this could be just a small thing in the back of their mind as they're scientists, they probably don't want to talk about this. But the idea here is that if they can see it in this person, even though they can't see it in themselves, it still gives them hope that they are not all forsaken. And again, very religious feel. These are like religious people. This is an important element to this story. So this is felt like an important element, definitely as far as this session goes. That feels complete. What else is interesting? So meaning I explored this till I felt complete in how this dynamic was between the individual and the people around this person. So I felt complete. So what else is there? The creations. What was designed and built? So here's an individual, hammer, he's hands-on in the process. It's like building a building, something large and functional, like a cathedral or a skyscraper. Wanting to build something beautiful, like a Michelangelo type. These days, it would be seen as less quote-unquote divine and more skill and drive. But one can still quote-unquote hope. Does this mean that people feel less quote-unquote forsaken today than in the past, I wonder? As a whole, more basic needs are met today than at any other time. When the needs are met and the starvation is fed, there comes a feeling of comfort, even if it is short-lived. It becomes a survival experience. If a village is struck with famine, by instinct alone, they can revert back to suckling on mother for nourishment to live, to satisfy the pain of starvation. It is then the complete reliance on someone else or something to end the starvation. This individual then represents someone who can figure out, be it by divine inspiration or by skill and wits alone, solve the problem of starvation. Where others would cry and beg, this one applies ingenuity to solve that problem. Self-sufficient. Two very different types of people. The individual does it because it can be done. Someone might ask, "Why are you building that?" He answers, "Because I can. Because it can be built. That's why." It's Taoist in nature. That is interesting because when I think of the xenon detector here, some people are think that it was a waste of time, dark energy, dark matter doesn't exist, and all that kind of stuff. But the feeling here was more along the lines of, why would you build that? Because it can be built. It can be built. They can build a device that can detect weakly interacting massive particles. Whether dark matter or dark energy exists then can be found out because they built a device that can detect it, because it can be built. That's really the essence of this session, of what I was experiencing. He can inspire others to assist in the creation, the building process. Give them the vision of what it looks like, and they are then inspired as well and participating in it. That was it. That was the end of the session. So I need to research who these people are and see if I can find who this person is. Right here. Very, very interesting session. This was a great way to finish up the project, and I felt complete when I was done in this. I still have the essence of it in my mind right now, of someone who has that type of vision and the ingenuity and the skills to actually build something like this. You know, so that's it. That was the final session, session number 3 for the XENON1 project. So I hope you enjoyed it. I found it absolutely fascinating. One of my favorite remote viewing experiences right here. So I hope you found it interesting as well. Many more to come.